Hello, everyone, and welcome to the official podcast of BNI Success Link. Today, we are going to talk about the top 3 things every homeowner should know and ask before changing their floors in 2022.
The official podcast of BNI Success Link, your link to success.
Hello again, everyone. I'm your host, Rav Mandirata from Social Squares, and landing leads is where my business leads. Today, we are going to talk about the top 3 things every homeowner should know and ask before changing their floors in 2022. And I have an expert in flooring with me today, Rob Bay, who owns the Floor Coverings International in Oakland. Rob, welcome, and thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate the opportunity.
Why don't we start with you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and how you got into this?
Oh, sure. So we started the business in 2017. My wife and I looked at a variety of different franchise offerings, and we were introduced to Floor Coverings International. And her family owns a lumber yard here in San Leandro. They've been here since 1882, so it's a 4th generation family-run business. And there's a lot of synergies between installing new floor coverings and the lumber yard. So we source a lot of materials from the lumber yard, like baseboards, plywood sheets that we need for subfloor repair. So it's a great synergy. And then the lumber yard is able to take the commercial deliveries and unload the pallets of flooring. And there's plenty of space for us to use as a warehouse. So it's been a nice working relationship because we do spend a lot of money at the lumber yard itself.
Wow, 1882. So generations in flooring. And you've, I'm sure, seen it all right from the trees to the customer's home. That's right. Awesome. And I'm sure the audience can learn a lot today. So let's start with, what would you say are the top 3 trends in flooring in 2022?
Okay, sure. So waterproof and water-resistant flooring is going to continue to be a hot trend. Manufacturers are really upping their game into various areas with luxury vinyl plank. The 3D printing technology is enabling them to make luxury vinyl that's waterproof, that is almost indistinguishable from real hardwood. There are also advances in technologies for creating laminate flooring. So laminate is a wood recycled material. It typically was not friendly with water. Water would spill on it, and if it sat there for too long, it would suck it up and expand like a sponge. But now the technology is advanced that the laminates are very water resistant. And then even with carpet, one of our main partners, Shaw Floors, makes something called a lifeguard backing. And so this is carpet that has a rubberized back on it. And so liquid literally cannot seep through the carpet into the pad below it and into the subfloor. So when people have stains in carpets that keep coming back all the time, it's because the liquid, like the red wine or the coffee, got through the carpet down into the pad. And so even though they've steam cleaned it, that stain keeps coming back because it's down inside the pad. So this rubberized backing called lifeguard prevents any liquids from getting into the pad underneath. And so if you do spill that red wine or coffee, you can have a professional steam cleaner come over and get rid of that stain right away. The next area would be eco-friendly flooring. So people like to have materials that have been sustainably resourced. So bamboo is a good offering. Cork is another one, and marmoleum, which is a material that is made out of plant materials. And then finally, the biggest trend for the coming year is going to be pet-friendly floors. So manufacturers are coming out with scratch-resistant flooring that they're actually putting a warranty behind, which had not been there before. There's increased stain protection technologies and easy maintenance. So they're making carpets that are specifically designed to easily release pet hair during the vacuuming. And so that's one of the biggest areas that, I think they said consumers spend about $70 million a year on their pets. So the floor coverings are taking notice of that and coming out with new products specifically designed to be pet friendly.
That's so cool. It sounds like 2022 is the year to change the floors, right? And I think the number there is 70 billion. It can't be 70 million. I'm sure Americans spend more than that. That's very interesting insight. And thank you.
You're right. It's 70 billion. Sorry about that.
No worries. So let's come to the next topic, which I wanted to ask you about is that what are the top 3 things you would say that every homeowner should know and ask before actually they change their floors?
Okay, so yeah, the most frequent thing that I come across is people that have carpet that want to change it to hard surface, whether it's hardwood or some, waterproof type of flooring. And, they think they can just pull up the carpet and install the new flooring. Well, hard surface flooring requires the subfloor to be flat within an eighth of an inch variance across an 8-foot span. And so the carpet is going to hide a lot of these potential issues, and you don't see them until you pull that carpet up. So people should know that if they have carpet, it's very possible that you find some sort of unknown condition with the subfloor that's going to be very costly to correct before you can properly install the hard surface material. Secondly, a lot of people want to have carpet on stairs, and they want to put hardwood or what other new type of hard surface on stairs. That's going to be very expensive. It's going to be $250 to $350 per step, materials and labor, depending on the type of stairs that we're dealing with and the size of them. And then finally, people need to remember that it's not just the floors. There's going to be transition moldings that are going to be needed for the doorways if you're transitioning from one type of flooring to another. And then you're also typically going to need to replace the baseboards as well. So those are probably the top 3 things that people should know before they get into their flooring project.
Thank you so much, Rob. Let's just shift gears. You've been doing this for a while. Your family has been in this for generations. What would you say are the top 3 things or the top things you wish you knew before you got into Floor Coverings International?
Sure. So I think, just building on what we were talking about with the subfloors, just knowing a little bit more about subfloor requirements and the preparations that's going to be needed before we can properly install a floor. Secondly, would be better knowledge of installation methods and the options around that, because there are various types of methods. So with hardwood, you can nail it to a wood subfloor, or you can glue it, or you can float it, which means you don't use any adhesives to fix the floor to the subfloor. You use a glue for the tongue and groove, and then you put an underlayment, and but you don't actually nail or glue the floor down to the floor. So having a better knowledge of the methods and when it was appropriate for those different methods would have been great. And it's something I've learned over the years, and obviously made some mistakes with it, especially at the beginning. And then finally, what to do with hazardous materials, or when to recognize and know what to do with hazardous materials. So a lot of the old homes in the Oakland area here have old flooring that has asbestos content in it. And so that requires a separate remediation company to come and safely remove that hazardous material. Though, depending on the situation, there are times where we just leave it and just install right over the top of it. The asbestos is only dangerous when you demolish it and you create the dust. So if the old flooring that potentially has asbestos in it is in good shape, we just don't touch it, and we can just install right over the top of it. And the other type of hazardous material we run into is just related to pets, pet excrement and urine. Some people out there, they just let their dogs or cats run amok, and you're dealing with carpet or wood that's been damaged by the excrement or the urine. And, that's a hazardous material, and knowing what to do with it and how to seek appropriate compensation for removing that hazardous material from the homeowner is something that I wish I had a little bit more experience with when I got started.
That's very interesting. I had no idea that material could also be hazardous. So thank you for sharing. And I'm sure anybody getting into this business would have quite a bit to think about now. Now, the final question I have is around digital marketing. And I got to ask this just because I'm in the field. What would you say is the best digital marketing strategy which has worked for your business?
So we've got a couple. We do use paid services where we pay for the leads that we get. But I think the best results have come from our search engine optimization. So one of the benefits of being with a national franchise is we have a national agreement with a company that does the search engine optimization for many of our locations. So our websites have a very common look and feel and experience when you come to them. And the work we've done with the provider this year, we've seen, the number of hits to our website almost double year over year. So the search engine optimization has been the best, because we're not paying for those leads, right? We're paying for the optimization service, but that's much less expensive than paying for the leads themselves.
Sure. Yeah, that's great to hear that SEO is working well for you. And I think the websites of Floor Covering International, they have a very modern look and feel. So that helps with the customer experience and the conversion as well. But kudos to your company for providing that service. And I'm so glad to hear that digital marketing helps your business. So thank you so much, Rob. Thanks for doing this. And I'm sure our audience can learn a lot and take away a lot of things from this session. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Rob.
The official podcast of BNI Success Link. Your link to success.